Hey, y'all, welcome to another episode of the Dickie and Donny Show. My name is Donny, and I'm one of our hosts, and I'm joined here by my co host, Dickie, and he's in a bad mood today. So here's what we're going to do. You're in a bad mood. You're in a bad mood.
Not in
I
a
don't know.
bad mood.
Have you read the children's book, Grumpy Monkey?
I feel like a grumpy monkey.
Have you read that book? His name is Chimpanzee, one of the best character names ever, because he's a
I
little
have not.
chimpanzee named
I have not.
Chimpanzee. And everyone's like, "Why are you in a bad mood today?" And he's like, "I'm not in a bad mood." And they're like, "You're in a bad mood." And it goes, obviously, then he trips over a snake. And the snake's like, "Why'd you trip?" And he's like, "I didn't mean to trip." And he's like, "Why are you in a bad mood?" And then at the very end, he realizes he is in a bad mood, and acknowledging that he was in a bad mood and that's all it was made him feel a little bit better.
Well, I'm just disappointed we've had so many weeks off together, and maybe I'm a little resentful that we haven't had our time
Hmm,
together.
okay.
No, I'm not. That's not really.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, you were out of town most recently, so you can resent your own family. So to your wife and kids publicly, he's sorry. Here's what we are going to do today. First of all, Dickie, it's great to be back with you. This is a
It's
comfort
so
zone of
good.
mine.
So
Your lighting is so much better than my home office lighting. But as well as this, also, if it was St. Patrick's Day, I'd be getting pinched and not you. So, but
true.
it's not. So we're okay. Dickie and I are hosting a series that we've done the last couple of years called a financial tune-up. It's going to be this week as we sit. So they will be the 14th, 21st, and 28th of August, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, bopmasterclass.com. And that is where we'll be. It's a three-part series, and we call it a financial tune-up. And I want to tell you the original name that I had and my original marketing thought, but Dickie would probably not approve of that. So we're going to call
No,
it
I know exactly what you were going to say. This is our third year running the financial tune-up. Do you know that?
yeah, yeah. Do you remember originally what I said I should wanted to
Stop
name
the
it?
bleed.
Stop the Bleed with
Yeah,
BOP
sure.
branded Band-Aids.
Yeah, love it. I mean, I
Or
think.
the initial thought was BOP feminine hygiene product.
Well, that was a
But
little the strongest version.
but then I
But
thought Band-Aids were fair. And then you said, why don't we just not address the bleeding and just call it a financial tune-up? Because there are a lot of little markers on your dashboard that will show you something's wrong. And I just think that probably tracks a little bit cleaner.
and I like
So,
to stop the bleed for the directness of business owners that don't want to look at their numbers. They're
yeah.
afraid to look at their numbers. They try to hide behind them. And I'm speaking in September at our live event on some of those numbers that we try to hide behind. And so I actually prefer the term stop the bleed only because we need to be direct with, if you don't acknowledge, say the truth, you can't fix it. And
Period.
I've had a couple of calls recently with people that have some significant financial issues. They are negative in profit this year. They are not job costing. Don't have clarity on if they're even making profit. And we're talking millions of dollars. And the multiple on the wrong job costing and result on millions of dollars versus hundreds of dollars is huge. So if you're $500,000 in negative profit, we got some issues. You got to be direct to say, we have to fix this. This is a
Yeah.
massive drop.
Mandatory. Yeah. What we're going to do today is we're going to do a very brief, abbreviated version. I didn't need to say brief and abbreviated version. We're going to do an abbreviated version of,
Brief and abbreviated.
yes, of this financial tune-up. So
I had a
that
friend that
consists.
said something like that. They said, we're going to do a comprehensive overview. And somebody was like, which one is it? Is it comprehensive or is it an overview?
Which shouldn't be funny,
Yes.
but
It
it
was
is.
on like a book
Uh,
publisher deal. It was even funnier. Like, I'm going to give you a comprehensive overview. And the publisher was like, I don't think that works.
oh, it's like saying Dickie and good attitude. They just don't go together, you know?
I think he's always in a good space. It is Monday. It is Monday.
What's wrong with Monday? Monday's the first day you get to see me every week.
Well, that's always the best bright spot of my day.
You can just call me the sun because I'm a bright spot and I'm a son of somebody. So
So talk to me, financial clarity, three
yeah, there's three
parts.
parts.
Yep.
The first one, here are the three quickly: knowing your overhead numbers, what you're committing to paying before the month even starts. The second one, once we get money into the account, what do we do with it? And then the third one is how do we actually forecast out about how much money we think we'll be making 1 to 6 to 12 months out. And
How
we have a
much we're
tool
committed
and a
to
process
every
for all
month.
those. Yes.
So overhead, how much we're committed to, how much cash we have, how much we have currently, and then what we have expected coming in. Great.
Yep. And there are 3 different calls. They're all pretty brief and they're all pretty direct. Each one comes with a client story because we have, I mean, at this point, hundreds of client stories really in all 3 tiers. And almost every time all 3 tiers go together, right? Because we have a lot, it's very rare that Business on Purpose will get a new client that is like, hey, I have total clarity over my finances. It's this other stuff. They always want the other stuff, but one of the main reasons we get people in is because of the amount of financial clarity we can bring. So let's go with step number 1, which is identifying your overhead. This is, and there's a really fancy tool that I'm going to ask you to go invest in. And I mean, it's like, you're gonna be like, I don't even know you're going to ask me to like invest yet. It's called a spreadsheet. And actually, you can go a step further and just say a piece of paper. If you're good enough, probably even a stone with a chisel. And I would literally break it down. What do I pay for every single month, regardless of whether I am on vacation, regardless of whether I got work in that month? That is what overhead is. If I lost every job today, what would I still pay? Not what would you choose to cut? Like right now, what would I still have to pay? If I'm building a shed for Dickie and I bought $5,000 worth of material, right? That is not an overhead expense. Do I have to pay that $5,000? Yeah, I bought the material. But if I lose Dickie's shed, that no longer is an expense I have. But the guy that I have that sold him that job, I would still have to pay his salary because if he didn't get, he'd still have a job, right? So we literally break this down step by step. And if you come to the financial tune-up, we have all the templates. We're just going to give them to you. And we break it down by operations. So there's operations. So that is anything to operate. There's software in there. A lot of the times there'll be vehicles. If you have a fleet of vehicles, right? You kind of think through everything around operations. Marketing. What are our marketing expenses? Do you pay for a website? Do you pay for SEO? Do you pay for ads? Do you have a CRM? Anything like that would be in marketing. And sales, kind of same song and dance. Is some people have repetitive swag orders because they're just part of their sales. It's like, well, we do this, or what, all the different things that come into play. And then there's an admin section, which the big first section there is payroll. So it's, man, what are we paying? But it's not just, well, I pay Dickie $100,000 a year. It's, well, I pay Dickie, his salary is $100,000 a year. I also have this in his healthcare that I have to pay because I'm an employer. I have payroll taxes right here. I have a phone stipend right here. I give him this for mileage. And you add all that in, typically it's about a 26% increase if you're doing all that. So, as a business, it's actually costing me $126,000 to afford his $100,000 salary. So we add in every employee, we add in all the administrative, your rent, your utilities, you name it.
That's right.
And that gives us this overhead number. And I have, Dickie, I don't know about you, I have never walked through that with somebody. And that number at the end is not what they thought, or is what they thought it was going to be. It's always more. Sometimes by $1,500, one time by $57,000 a month, it was more.
They were like, wow, why are we spending this much money in marketing? I've heard that a lot. So much money in marketing systems, marketing people. Yeah, that's great. So overhead number is the first one. The second one's going to be your level 2 dashboard. So most business owners say, well, I've got money in the bank account. There's a positive number in the bank account, and the profit and loss generally is where we want it. They think that's good enough, but we don't feel confident knowing that that number in the bank account gives us clarity on what it's dedicated to. So what does each of those dollars, which homes do those dollars go in? Is it part of your cost of goods? Is it part of your overhead? Is it part of your profit? Is it part of your taxes? And we want to get to a weekly cash flow statement of reviewing how much weekly cash flow and availability of resources you have. So if you're a profitable business, you take your people and your money and you put it somewhere, like little army soldiers that go out. The people and the money go out to create a product or to do the work, do the service, and it comes back with additional money. So you want more money and people that go, you want more money coming back to you than going out. And so we're going to track all of the cash flow on a weekly basis in our dashboard.
Called Subdivided Bank Accounts. Profit First by Mike McAllis is a great book. That's where we've derived that system off of. Again, we'll give the whole system. And then the last one is what we call forecasting. And this one is probably the most simple to set up, maybe even more than the overhead. What are all the jobs that are current? When do you expect to get money from each of them? So if you have a job and you're like, well, it's a 10-month job and it's a $1 million job, and I'm going to get about $100,000 each month, then across the top, put your months. And then on the column on the far left, put all your jobs. And then just say in January, how much do we expect? It's a forecast. You don't need to get it right. Forecast, like I look at the forecast not to tell me the exact temperature. I look to know, should I bring my umbrella when we're about to go out on the town or not? But this is for major holes that could be dropped or that we could realize 6 to 8 months in advance. Because right now, cash looks good. Cash looks good, but we forget that 4 of our 10 jobs stop in October. So in November, we have a huge gap in our cash and we have to pay that overhead and all the other things. So we have a bunch of this stuff to know what are we committing to paying before the month starts? What do we do with our cash once it's in-house to make sure we're not accidentally bleeding money? And how do we know what cash we should be expecting on a month-by-month basis so we can know when we need to start the next job? That's a financial tune-up. There's a lot of things that can happen on your dashboard. BOPmasterclass.com or businessonpurpose.com. Either way, you'll get where you need to go. Dickie, I hope you cheer up.
We're going to crush this. And if you're not there, I mean, just getting people there, we're so excited about getting you.
We have one guy coming back for the 3rd time, and he said last time that it was better than the first time, even though it was the same script. Dickie knows what I'm talking about. He's coming back.
He's definitely coming back. He's definitely coming back. We'll see you there.